And just like that, here we are. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night, wherever you may be. I hope you all had a pleasant, most excellent, spectacular Halloween. And we are now, maybe some part of the world might be still celebrating Halloween. We're getting ready to, while others are ushering in the age of November, the time of the pilgrims and the and the Native Americans coming together, or maybe it's the Native Americans coming to save the pilgrims from starving to death. But either way, uh, either we're going from a time of great horror or a time of giving thanks. So I'm glad that you're all here, and let's go ahead and get into it. So I've got this is going to be one of these show and tell episodes where I show you stuff I've been working on, and also this is going to be a bit of a episode where fish sticks. I'm trying to think where we're going to talk about a little bit of spooky stuff, some horror type news, and life in general. So thanks for tuning in, and let's go ahead and get to the news of the day. Well, this news was posted as of June 2021. Okay. So this is of June 2021. So it kind of cut me some slack. Not everybody in the world is, that are supposed to be journalists, if there are any left in this world, are actually going out looking for spooky and unusual news, even though it tends to do really well. Um, but having said that, I found this and I thought it was interesting. It's not spectacular or anything like that, but we'll read it together. Residents of a small Australian town terrified by a mysterious, creepy doll. And this is published by our friends at Lad Bible and written by the most excellent Tom Wood, or I hope he's excellent. So here we go. We've got an image of the purported doll and something weird there in the tree. I know you can't see too well because of the glare. There you go. Is that better? Reading on, we continue. Residents of a small town in Australia have been seriously creeped out by a haunted doll that sits on a swing near a mangrove swamp. It's the stuff of nightmares. Certainly the last thing you want to encounter late at night or early in the morning, but the people of Lucinda, North Queensland, know well enough to avoid this spooky toy. They even attribute the malevolent magic of the doll to the failed fishing trips and troubles with boats, probably due to the proximity to the water. Obviously, it's completely terrifying in the first place, but when you factor in the fact that it could also be casting evil spells, it gets even worse. Cue the creepy music. The town, which is 90 miles north of Townsville, only has a population of 406, all of whom are presumably well aware of the bad luck that swirls around this mysterious swinging doll. Even the local MP have been getting in on the act. Uh, Hinchinbrook's local political representative, Nick Demetto, told the Townsville Bulletin, everyone seems to know about the doll, but nobody really wants to talk about it. Said C.B. Smallwood with a non-Australian accent. Somehow, that makes it even stranger and more unnerving. According to Demetto, no one knows or is willing to own up to knowing who put the doll there. Dun dun boom. Perhaps no one actually did. Maybe it arrived there of its own accord. Apparently, the residents of the town are all completely aware of it, but no one is willing to get too close to investigate properly, and they're scared to even say hello to it. And then, well, don't look at me. Please turn off your ad blocker software to view the video. No, I will not. Demento added, everyone seems to know about the doll, but nobody really wants to talk about it. We already read that. This might be pure circumstance or just modern wives' tale, but it's something I'm definitely not willing to toy with. Demento went on to explain how every single time he tries to ask about the doll, it always ends up raising more questions than it provides answers. He said that the doll Dahl's province remains a local mystery, and most people living in the area are wary of digging too far into what it is doing there. But best just to skirt around and go about whatever business you got. That said, one business owner told the same local paper the doll was placed there by a lovely local couple who just wanted to add a splash of color to their small part of the world. Well, they've certainly done that. Just perhaps the not type of color they intended. Okay. But yeah, so this article was pretty much a big nothing burger, but some of these cryptids, ghost stories, and whatever else have you, sometimes they're pure winners, and most of the times they're big old duds. So this has been your look at the news for the day. And before we go any further, I just want to remind everybody to check out newempirecomics.com. I got this nifty little ad that will hopefully...
Well, hello everyone, this is CB Smallwood, and I just want to say thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And if you want to support this channel, then please head on over to newempirecomics.com. Again, that is newempirecomics.com. And the most important thing that you can do right now, other than hitting like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, is do this. Click on the Join the Mailing List button so that you'll be the first to know when our comics are being crowdfunded, exclusive free goodies, news, and more. You can also click it here, which will take you to the mailing list sign up. Just put in your name, your email, hit subscribe, and you are done. So if you want to be notified when I launch a crowdfunder, or whenever I'm giving away something for free, which I may do on occasion, this is the way to go. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and thank you for your support.
All right, we're back. Most excellent, most excellent. And let's see. I'm just getting organized here. So, I'm not a very super prepared individual, as you can tell, but just trying to get everything in order. Repeating myself. I hate that. So let's answer a few comments before we go any further. Our most excellent friend CB Sideburns, sorry, excellent friend Sideburns writes, "What's up, CB? I'm drawing. I'm glad you are too." And our fantastic pal Lion Tiger Man 23, yo, how's it going, man? How's it going to you as well? Glad to hear from you. Well, actually, I'm glad to hear from Sideburns as well. Don't want to make nobody jealous. Love y'all equally. But it's going good. So I'm going to show you a little bit of progress that I made, so or whatever, lack thereof. So here's this double page spread I think we've all seen before. Let me move some crap out of the way. And I'll probably just kind of lift the boom stand, so bear with me. So we can just take it all in. Sorry about the shaky camera. That's good. That's good right there. So there's this double page spread that somewhere in the early thing of the Wildcat Anthology opens this up. And so we're kind of getting to see the lair of Dr. Terror, or the assumed lair, or whatever. And then eventually that segues into this page here. Let me move these over. I really like how this page turned out. I thought it looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty nifty. Lots of yeah. Looks like I know what I'm doing. I'm doing some storytelling here, Well, at least I feel like it does. And I'll try to pass through these quickly because, some of you have seen these before. Ba-ba-ba-boom. I really like the control panel stuff that I drew up here. Toot my own horn. I liked how the hand turned out overall, but the shading I'm not too sure about, you know. But you know, still looks passable, I think. We got this little corner panel. Thought the corner panel isn't the most ideal thing, but I think it does the job. You know, it kind of reminds me of stuff that you would see back in the day, and so I like that. And there's this thing here. Where's my little tools? Just let's say right about that much, or let's do this one. There we go. Sorry about that. I didn't ink that because I didn't have my stencil thing with me at the time, you know, so I didn't want to freehand that ball. So I'm just going to hurriedly kind of just put that in. Maybe one of these bits. I don't know. So we got that page. Then we got this. You know, Dr. Terror's suit, I try to channel some Jack Kirby with that, but I don't know if it really came out that way. But Dr. Terror's suit, you know, I thought about just kind of blacking out because he's got a black suit, you know. But I'm not that quite good at that type of thing yet because Mike Manola is excellent at blacking stuff out and doing that sort of thing. And so I'm still learning and everything. So I chose to do more of like, you know, you see all the details and stuff. And when I go to put lettering in and formatting and all that other stuff, I'm going to add some zip tones, and so I'm going to try to make the suit look dark that way. So that's the idea on that one. And a lot of these pages that I'm drawing, it is one whole story, but what it does is it connects everybody's story together. So I think the first 4 or 5 pages is kind of the setup of what's going on, and then right here, getting Wildcat drilled in the head. You see this, and this black panel represents him blacking out, and then I'll add some captions or dialogue or whatever there. And so basically, after this page, somebody else's story will come up next. So it could be Sideburns, it could be our good friend Abe, or the fantastic R.J. Johnston. You know, good, you know, just whatever. You know, it'd be somebody's story would come up next after that. And so after their story concludes, we come back with that. And as Wildcat comes to, we see Dr. Terror again, more questioning and trying to figure stuff out. And then, you know, time to drill again. And so then we get another story by somebody else. And after that story concludes, we come back to this. Wildcat faking that he is passed out or whatever. And then we've got this little goblin dude. And Wildcat is like, well, right here in this panel, he's like, psst, hey you, come here. Yeah, you, come over here. I got a candy bar in my pocket. Won't you come over here? Yeah, right here in my pocket. If you untie me, I can give it to you. Can you untie me so I can give you this candy bar? Yeah, whatever that means. Just untie me. Oh, it continued, you know, uh, release him, you know. And so we get this, and with this one, I thought about adding all kinds of details and backgrounds and stuff in this, but I was trying to hurry along, and I think zip tones may save the day. But if you notice, big empty spots for me to put all kinds of dialogue. Um, flamming, blah 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 blah. And then we got the little golem looking thing walking away. But we also got Dr. Terror packing something in his hands. And then Dr. Terror, it's like, we've tried this procedure and that procedure and then this thing and that thing and all this other stuff, it's time to try this. And, it's like, here, let's, snug fit and everything. And Wildcat's like, you better get this pecker helmet off my head, you know. And then Dr. Terror saying a bunch of more stuff, and he flips a switch, sparks flying from the ceiling, and then we get Wildcat's reaction as he goes black. And then we get somebody else's story, and bear with me here. Come on now. Here, whatever. Maybe I'll just wad these up and throw them away. How about that? So when somebody else's story ends, we get to this where we have Wildcat lay down on the table. Instead of it being up right now, it's flat because Dr. Terror's put him in a flattened position. He's like, now, one thing I want to point out, if I can find it, give me 1 second. On this page, we see the orb thing, and it's in this little stasis pod, whatever you want to call it, or recharging pod. And then once it's activated, it floats up. Well, this is like an interdimensional thingamajigger that is recording. Okay, so Dr. Terror is talking to this thing that's recording, and then through like 80% of the rest of the comic that I'm drawing for the story is basically told from this perspective. So Dr. Terror is putting on he's doing his thing that he's doing, but he's also putting on a show for the entities that are watching through this thing. Good evening. Welcome to the festivities of today. Today, the long sought after, most difficultly acquired Wildcat is in our possession, and we will attempt to extract some precious information that will lead to discoveries most unheard of. Behold, there he is, tied and restrained, pumped full of radioactive element uranium to lower his ability to heal quickly, to render him almost human-like state with these magnetic bonds, ensuring that he does not leave from this facility. I assure you, my friends, this will be a show most cunning and most worth your time. And now let's bring us to the, let's see, what can I call it? The extraculator. My minions, bring me the extraculator so that we may extraculate the information that we seek. You better keep that thing away from me. And blah, 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 blah. But anyway, you get the idea. So these orbs are floating around, and these orbs for the interdimensional beings, we're practically the viewers, us. We're the interdimensional beings, whether you want to get, breaking the fourth wall or not, or if you want to keep it more literal in the comic book sense. So, hypothetically, that orb is floating right here, and that's how you get this shot. The orb's floating right here, and that's how you get this shot. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. Now, some of these panels, the orb is not necessarily recording, so it's me just taking liberties, I guess, for lack of whatever. Now the orb is floating over top, and we see uh, Dr. Terror working on Wildcat there, and we see now that he's attached a wire directly to his eyes. So he's went from trying to drill into Wildcat's head, going to putting some type of helmet on Wildcat's head. Now he's wiring his metallic cybernetic eye to extract whatever information that he's trying to get. And so this is the page that I may attempt to work on a little bit tonight. I'm not really for sure. So this is page 9. So the cool thing is, well, I don't want to lower this just yet. I got more stuff to show you guys. But the cool thing is with the Wildcat Anthology, in the month of October, about mid-October, I started drawing these pages. And so I've drawn and inked, I don't know, maybe about 6 or 7 pages. I'm not including the first two because the first two, I kind of took my time with doing over the period of a few months. So I'm not going to include those, even though I finished them this month. But roughly about 6 or 7 pages that I penciled and inked in this month. So had I not inked any pages and I just kept penciling, gosh, I'd probably have like 14 to 20 pages. I probably had this thing drawn, maybe. So that's pretty good, you know. That's almost like, you know, CB is almost ready for the big time to do a monthly drawing schedule. So that kind of gets me pumped, you know. All right, so let's move this aside. I've been trying to work on the cover, okay, and this has been a bit of a struggle. The concept that I had was Wildcat logo up here, so I left a big empty space for that to be put on there. God, look at that hairy arm. Kind of reminds me of Joe Mad. I can't remember I pronounced Joe Mad's last name, but I remember in a Wizard magazine thing where you first got to see Joe Mad for the first time, and he was talking about his work on Uncanny X-Men or whatever. He had like huge hairy arms, and I guess it kind of got sort of the same thing. So hairy arms aside, big logo right here, you know, company logo here and that sort of thing. Left a space open for that. I got fat hands too, big fat hands, like it's like Andre the Giant hands, you know, like slam somebody. So I got Dr. Terror here. I put a Chainsaw Ninja right there. I got these little evil little 4-foot tall guys behind Dr. Terror. Now I had a problem with this. The Kronos, which is going to be a major villain for Wildcat in the future. You know, right in this anthology, Dr. Terror is like the big baddie, but this is like a really, really big baddie because essentially, whenever I draw the official first issue of Wildcat, the deal with Kronos is it's difficult to explain, but somehow Kronos becomes aware that Wildcat is back. And for 100 days, he is traveling through space to make his way to Earth to confront Wildcat. So think of this guy like a doomsday type character, and he's getting ready to bring the big smackdown on him. So it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. And Wildcat's going to have many adventures before this guy shows up. Meanwhile, we've got the cybernetic bear, one of them over here. We've got is it Hellraiser? Hellraiser. It's I think it's a like a female type of way of saying Hellraiser. It's a Hellraiser or something like that. Got her there. Peter DeLuca came up with her, and then we've got this guy here. I can't remember his name. And this guy. Both of these guys were made by our most excellent friend Sideburns. Came up with these. I mean, and the guy that came up with this, he's the most excellent friend as well. Everybody's excellent friends. The BW Sims come up with the concept for the cybernetic bears. And got this guy right here. I can't remember what name I got him. He's like Shogun Samurai type of dude, just his back. And I got just the back of the girl that the witch girl. That's also part of their story. And then I've got this evil Ernie dude. I don't think Peter's come up with a name for him yet. Not for sure. I could be wrong. So I kind of, got him sketched in there, and I was putting some bodies and some rubble. And then we got Wildcat here, and I feel like I drew his head too big for the proportions that I'm going for. I know it looks very out of proportion because he's got small legs and huge arms and a huge upper torso, but I kind of want that look for him. I like the idea that his upper torso is abnormally big, but I want his head and I want his legs to be average, human size. Let's see. So originally I had like kind of like a wave of them coming in like that and then walk it over here. But I had some sizing issues in trying to cram everything in and trying to figure out how everything's going to look. Um, and trying to figure out what everybody's going to do. Right now, this isn't too dynamic of a page because I like the pose that Wildcat's in, but I think it would look cooler if there's like an actual battle going on and all this other stuff, and there's mayhem. Right now, everybody's just like kind of regrouping and they're getting ready to take Wildcat type of thing. So, so until I get the flow down and get it figured out, there's a possibility that I may go for more of a collage, which is kind of what this is anyway. So there's that. Let me answer some comments, questions, all these good things. Sideburns writes, I've seen you do a cover with my characters on it. Oh, this is it. Indeed. Dang, that looks legit like a pro comic book. Well, thank you. You've boosted my ego and you've sent it to the stratosphere. It's now leaving planet Earth. It's exploring the cosmos. It's passed up Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. So it's getting ready to exit the Oort cloud and then go into interstellar space. Yes, my egos went way up. I like that. You've made my day. Sideburns Rats, the name of the characters that this guy, that guy is Trap Beast. Trap Beast is the one with the antlers, and Xenolf is this guy down here. And then what was her name? The witch lady. Another problem that I have with this layout is that realistically, you're not going to have all the characters facing forward, so you're not going to get a good look at all of them. And I want everybody to kind of get a good look at all these characters. So I may have to do a collage or something like that to pull it off. So moving on from show and tell, well, not entirely, but to show you some more things from show and tell. Here is some concepts that I'm working on, not Wildcat related, but part of the Wildcat universe, or maybe not. Who knows? Let's see. Let's get out of the way. All right. The first thing is, I'm thinking this will be kind of like a standalone story, kind of like a maybe not part of the Wildcat universe, even though I just said that. Now, don't judge me. This is like a rough draft, a really, really rough draft of me trying to figure out an idea that I have in my head. This, originally it's like Tengu. I may just end up calling it Tengu, but I decided maybe like Tengura. So what is Tengura? Tengura, it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world. Okay, basically our world. And what ended up happening is maybe it could have been like Japanese scientist or something that, or maybe it's like South Korean scientist. It doesn't matter. They find like these ancient relics that are doorways to another world, and they activate them. But what it does, it floods in all these kaiju, and monsters are different sizes. Human-sized monsters, monsters the size of a dog, and monsters the size of buildings and beyond. So it floods the world with monsters. These little parasites come through, and they attach themselves to people, and that creates like these monster zombies. And so it becomes a hellish world to live in, and it spreads worldwide. But there's still pockets of civilization, pockets of these walled cities where people are safe from the kaiju and all the lower grade monsters. Places like I guess like Tokyo would be like a walled off no man's zone. So imagine all these dilapidated buildings and there's no power and there's these things running around. It's very creepy and scary. And Japan has its own like special forces kaiju unit, and they go in and they have to go in and go get something and do something. And so I like the idea that when you watch a Godzilla movie, right? Um, One of the problem with Godzilla movies is we're not most of us ain't really interested in what the people's doing because the people suck. We want to see Godzilla fight, King Kong. We want to see Godzilla fight, oh gosh, Mecha Godzilla or King Caesar, or the big lobster thing in the ocean, or Rodan. You get the idea. Monster Zero. Uh, where was the guy with the drill hand and he's a big cockroach? Rise up, Megalon. That's it, Megalon. And then I think the other one with the hook hands, Ghidorah, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm getting off sidetracked. So anyway, we want to see those battles. So what I want to do is create a comic book where you actually care what the humans are doing because there's stuff happening in their world, just as there is happening on the large scale in Tenguru's world. So anyway, what ends up happening is, so far in the story, aliens show up, and these aliens are the creators of the gateways, and they're trying to help the humans make things right. Um, and humanity's getting near its last legs, and the wild city within Japan, that's got power and people living in it. There's a kaiju trying to break through, and they're getting ready to break through, and out of desperation, they need something to do to save them. And so these aliens recommend this thing that was created as a kaiju killer, as a last resort, and so they summon Tengu or Tengura, and Tengura falls out of the sky and in just lands, and it's freaking dead. It's just laying there dead. It's a rotten corpse. It's got very little flesh left on its skull. It's got like bony fingers, and some of its ribs are showing, and it's got this black, wet and matted fur in weird places. It looks like a weird, messed up, undead Godzilla. It's just laying there dead in the middle of this city street. It's huge, Godzilla size. And so this kaiju, whatever it is, breaks through. It's getting ready to step on this little girl, and out of nowhere, there's Tengura standing up, this undead kaiju, and it just starts fighting it, and it vomits acid. There's like crows and birds that follow it all over the place because they're picking off bits of its flesh. And yeah, that's Tengura, and that's the whole concept that came up for that. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, are you sold on that? Not biting on that? All right, that's okay because I got more. You thought that was it? You thought wrong. Okay, let's get to some generics. So this right here was an experiment. I thought about, I really like public domain superheroes, and there's a lot of people that are reviving public domain superheroes. It's really cool. But there's like gaps in it, gaps of characters that could really round things out, for super teams that people's putting together, or new stories that people are making with public domain characters. There's also gaps in terms of villains and other hero archetypes and stuff. So I thought maybe I'll create some characters and I'll just give them away, which I changed my mind on. I am not giving these away. I had such fun making these generic characters that I want to keep them. The first one was, I thought, well, there needs to be like a ninja type archetype of superhero character. So I decided to do one that was kind of cybernetic, and I would call him Iron Ninja. Just very generic. There's Iron Ninja. Then I thought, okay, we need a Conan, kind of a Conan spoof ripoff thing. I created Barbarius. And I actually came up with a cool backstory for Barbarius. I was thinking that his whole deal is him and many other men died on the battlefield, and a wizard shows up and brings Barbarius back from the dead. And so he has to serve the wizard and go on a quest to get revenge on behalf of the wizard who resurrected him, and he has no choice in it, you know. And when he was resurrected, he got struck by lightning, and that's how he got the scar, the lightning bolt on his chest. Uh, Captain High Seas. There's Captain High Seas. Get a harpoon and chain and stuff. I was like, man. Uh, Here's Space Police, Space Cop, just Space Cop. Man, these are really generic, but I love them though. Basically, imagine Judge Dredd in outer space and enforcing the intergalactic space laws. And he stays in a stasis pod. He could be frozen for, you know, a couple days, anywhere from 10 years to 100 years. But when somebody breaks the law, he's awoken from his stasis, and he makes sure that, you know, judgment is served. But yeah, I like this design. I thought it was pretty cool. I liked all of them. I liked them so much that I couldn't give them away. I decided just to keep them because I'm like that. I got two more things to show in show and tell, and then we'll move on to actually drawing a little bit. Not too long though, because I was thinking about playing some games or something. Uh, anyway, getting kind of hungry too, to be honest with you. So I sat down one day, and I'm sorry, I know you're getting a little fatigued with me moving the camera, but some days I sit around and I was like, hey, I want to make some new characters. So I decided to sit down and make characters. Now, these characters, I'm going to redesign them some more and add some stuff to them, take some stuff away, and just really flesh them out a little bit better. But with these characters, this guy's makeshift name is Scratch. Scratch is a old school American name for the devil, going back in the 1700s. Places like New Hampshire and stuff like that used to call him Scratch. And so, you know, I gave this guy like a trident that can shoot power and stuff like that. And I figured his skin would be red, maybe some yellow horns. And I thought it would be kind of cool that this guy would be essentially, he'd be a Christian who was done wrong so bad that he wanted to do vengeance upon those that do wrong. And so he chose one of the most scariest entities of all time, the devil, to bear his his likeness to go about and do horrible things to those that do wrong, you know. Or that's the kind of like the makeshift idea. Then we got this guy, and I thought it would be cool that, you know, let's give somebody Wolverine claws, but they're chainsaws. So these chainsaws come out, and I decided to give like these, try to give it room for these things to pop out. It's got this guy's basically sort of like Spartan from Wildcats, where he's a cyborg, you know, and yeah, he just he's strong, not like very very strong, but you know, stronger than you or I, definitely. And when things get wicked, the chainsaws come out. Makeshift name, Chainsaw. And I gave him a scar there, you know, for good measure. The next character, possible name is Wildebeest. And I thought it'd be neat to have some beastly looking character, some feral looking character. And, you know, I gave him some swords, got to give him some pouches. And he goes about, you know, he jumps around like, you know, Beast from the X-Men, doing all that other stuff. But, you know, he's also a tactician and all that good stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Created this one. This character's name is Tank. And he's just basically a big tank, muscle bound tank dude. Tank. There's Tank's head. And then we got this girl here. Makeshift name for her is Harlot. And I thought it'd be interesting, you know, like she's kind of a Black Widowish type character, except for she's more hoish. And yeah. So this is makeshift design for her. So I'd give her 2 guns or something. I don't know. I ain't got it all figured out. Look at them teeth. Like that. And then I drew Wilder Beast's makeshift head, So I decided to name these characters as a team as the Lords of Destruction. They are the Lords of Destruction. So basically, they're in outer space and they go to alien worlds, and sort of like the Avengers that go about avenging things. Well, they go about bringing destruction to those that do great evil. So when they show up, they're not there to kiss hands and hug babies. They're there to bring down the neighborhood. They're the Lords of Destruction, and their name is given to them by basically uh, beings throughout the universe that are intelligent, that have heard tales of these avenging characters, and they call them the Lords of Destruction because wherever they go, destruction is sure to follow. And I guess they all have their personal reasons for being this collective that goes about doing these things. So when I designed these characters, when I sat down to work on them, I kind of pretended like, what if I worked at Marvel Comics, sometime around 94, 1995, right? And Rob Liefeld has left X Force. Okay. And they're like, hey, you want to draw X Force? We're thinking about canceling or doing something else with it again because, uh, we're wrapping it up. We tried to do something with it I think they had Greg Capullo on it for a good long time, and he did a really good job. Um, but I thought, like, what if I took that over and I was like, and they'd let me have a little bit of leeway? I would just create a whole new team, and I was like pretending like, okay, what kind of team would I put together? And so this was like my first rough draft of pretending I was doing my own version of X Force. Um, and so I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I'm going to spoof this one up some more, spoof this one up just a little bit. This one may be fine, and maybe. My main concern with her is her weapons, so I need to figure that out. So, yeah, the Lords of Destruction. I just love that. It's pretty cool. So, oh, and by the way, the stuff I was showing you here is just these are individual characters. They're not part of a team, So, one last thing to show on today's show and tell. I was doing a thing where there was an artist on Twitter. I probably saw this on Google Images or Pinterest or something. I don't know. I don't remember where I saw it. But this artist on Twitter did this kind of layout, and I thought it looked so awesome. And so I just started doing my version of it. And I thought about doing something like that as a cover or maybe a sticker. But I wanted to attribute the art, the artist that inspired this, but I couldn't find his name. I even tried to do like a reverse Google image search. So I guess what I'll do is, like, if I really like this or the concept of this, I'll have to go and change it up, like 30 or 40% to make it more mine, to where it's not an issue. You know what I mean? But this is pretty much the same poses that the other artist had. Well, not quite. You know how I am. So, you got Wildcat in the center, you got Cronus there, you got the Fox, you got Evil Wildcat, you've got Xenoth, Trap Beast, the Witch Lady, Chainsaw Ninja, a really cool looking polar bear head. I know you can't really tell. Got the Shogun samurai dude, and Dr. Terror, another ninja. Yeah, I think that's all that's on there. I thought that looked pretty good. And this is my sketchbook, and I've been filling it up. I've started drawing on this side of the paper, really, really trying to get my art up to snuff. Working on things like anatomy and poses, facial aspects. working on rocks. I really like how Jim Lee does like ground and rocks, and also Brett Booth, which is pretty much the same thing. But there are a little bit stylistic differences. Also like George Perez's rubble and Carlos Pacheco's. Um, there's Cooper's work, and he went and darkened this girl's eyes and stuff. um, I started writing some quotes too. I really love philosophy and freaking theology, which is like the study of different religions. But bodily exercise, when compulsory, does no harm to the body, but knowledge which is acquired under compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. That was written by Plato, who was, I think, a student of Socrates. Not sure on that, but I believe so. But that's pretty true. It basically means that you could go work out, do a bunch of push-ups, sit-ups, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to be beneficial to you because your body will get toner and help eat that fat off of you and live longer and stuff. So if somebody forces you to do physical exercise, it's not going to harm you in the long run. But if somebody forces you to sit down and learn something and you're not interested in it, then actually it's not beneficial to you whatsoever. It's like your mind will not hold that information for the most part long term, i.e. public education. Here I am working on like some really rough looking what do you call it? Delkion monsters and stuff like that. There's like 3 of them. It looks fairly good. And mind you that I didn't try to do these really professionally or anything like that. It's just trying to learn and get the idea down. Some more Cooper scribbles. Me learning about the conscious and subconscious mind and the importance of changing the paradigm. But yeah, got all kinds of little goodies in this thing. Been studying Eric Larson, how the body structure for Savage Dragon, and also like how he does some of his panels, which are very reminiscent of. Is it Wally West? Wally something? Wally Wood? I think it might be Wally Wood. Learning different ways to draw veins on the arm. And then this was the rest of these pages I'm not drawing these sides yet, so I'm going back through the sketchbook to fill it up. But working on my cross hatching, trying to find the right angle to get the best results. Man, that was a mouthful, wasn't it? Let me lower this a little bit, okay? Really wished I got a water before I started this. Whew. All right. Ready to begin. Oh boy. Okay, let's talk about life stuff. What time I'm doing this? A couple of things. I had a really awesome opportunity come my way, and it just blew out of my way just as quickly as it came. It was a wonderful potential job opportunity that just went bye-bye. And it was no fault of my own. It was just one of these things that happened. The guy that was leaving the said job basically decided, hey, I want to stay instead. So because of that, I didn't get his spot. Had I done so, I would have made untold amounts of money, hypothetically, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. And I would have been able to pay all kinds of bills. I would have been able to pay people that I owe. And I would have been able to, help family out and friends out and do all kinds of wonderful things with it, Now it's just like, ugh. And so it's a real bummer, this awesome thing. I don't know how well I would have done at that job. I might have sucked at it for all I know. Might not have been the right fit for me, but oh man, the money would have been nice. So kind of recovering from that, the failure of that situation. In other news, maybe a little bit more palatable or interesting to you all. Yeah, like I said, I like to study, philosophy and stuff like that. And I'm really into Stoicism, um, Stoics, all this other stuff. A lot, there, Something like Stoicism really came to prominence during the time of the Romans. Like Marcus Aurelius, I think, was a big Stoic. He's actually got writings a lot of people really enjoy. you know. Um, so anyway, with that, I'm trying to think here. It goes all the way back to Socrates and Plato. There's even probably a bit of Stoicism even in Jesus Christ. Which really Christ is just another way of saying, it's like the Greek way of saying Messiah. So it's kind of weird to say Jesus Messiah, unless you're saying that Jesus is Lord. But like a lot of people think Christ is like his last name. A lot of people refer to him as Jesus of Nazareth. But anyway, that's something different altogether. Fun facts, trivia. If I got my information right, don't want to be overconfident and have somebody like school me. Well, actually, CB, you're wrong, which is good. It's good to be wrong because then you get corrected and then you know to be right. There's really not much point in me just shading this, but sometimes I like to do that stuff so I can visually see, how it would kind of look like when it's blacked out. It helps me to get a better gander on stuff. Let's see here. Man, this is messed up looking. Not sure if I like this at all. I guess thankfully though, when he's laying, sideways, when regular ways on the drawing, it doesn't look that bad. But like when you tilt the drawing this way, it doesn't look too hot. So anyway, I was talking about the Stoics and stuff, and really into that stuff. It's all about. Hang on a second. I'll be back. Are you okay? Are you sure? Check your head. Are you fine there? Or do you want to let it on? Okay. Is that heat bothering you? You want your jacket on or off? Raise up 1 second, okay? Oh, better? You want your pants off too? Okay. Sorry. Raise up 1 second. You fix your blanket. There. Wait a minute. I'm gonna put it underneath you. Okay, now let me cover you up with this. Ready? Oh, you want underneath that instead? Okay, better. Okay, I'm back. Might not be broadcasting too much longer. I am getting hungry. And the camera's quit working. Let me see here. Let's go to camera. Okay, I don't even, oh, there's my picture. Good. Let's turn the camera back on. All right. I figured out how to fix this before. Now I'll get it done. All right, so camera facing front, facing back. Oh, there we go. There's my ceiling. You like that? Now, man, I am a wizard with this stuff. I'm so used to things going wrong that I know how to fix them when they do. Let me let's see, answer some comments right quick. What time I munch on these? These to me these are good in small doses. I think the regular kind's more my cup of tea, but these are good too. These are like delicacy. Cool name, Scratch. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I sounded insincere, but I really didn't mean it. Hope CB Jr. is okay. Yeah, he's fine. He seemed like this morning when he woke up, he's kind of sickish, like his eyes were bloodshot. Just wasn't acting himself. You ever been around a youngin that just acts different? They're just sitting around still acting like a wild maniac. He's been doing that. And then just a few minutes ago, he's been well. You may have heard it. He just started coughing. So that's the first time he's been doing that today. So I'm gonna have to give him some more of that elderberry medicine. Oh, and thanks, Sideburns. Yeah, he's doing all right. Displaying Comics Rats. And hello as well. I'm glad that you're here. And it's being Halloween and all, I thought I heard a zombie in the background. Yeah, that was Cooper. He was changing to a zombie. The mutilator of my sketchbooks and guy who kidnaps all my good pencils and stuff. Bless his heart. Yes, indeed. Oh man, I took him trick or treating today, and it's a pitiful mess. Like it'd been raining, and so where I live at, like they're thinking about having Halloween on November the 1st. Okay, whatever. There was a couple other cool Halloween things that I could have took him to beforehand, because it seems like this month in the town I live in, they've really upped their game in terms of Halloween entertainment. But I missed out on some of those. But anyway, so I was like, man, I don't want to be like this thing where like a few years ago where I was dragging my feet and then we missed out on Halloween because, it was like either too cold or too this, whatever. And so, so I really want him to, have fun and enjoy himself. So at the park, they had a big thing where there was like inflatables and, it had been raining. So I stopped at the dollar store to buy an umbrella because most people don't pack umbrellas. At least I don't. So by the time we got back, it quit raining, so we didn't really need an umbrella. So he pulled with a few of the inflatables, and there was like maybe like 10 to 15 booths. And booths is probably not the right word to use, They're coming for me. Okay, I'm safe. They haven't figured me out yet. Just don't check the floorboards. uh, PSA, it's a joke. It's a joke. Comedy. But anyway, yeah, went around, got some candy from these 10 booths, 10 things, and it was good. We got some food, brought it home, and came home. Yeah, I think it's turned out pretty good. I like it so far anyway. Looks weird when I turn it sideways. Probably would have helped if I drew it sideways in the first place. Believe it or not, for the longest time, as a comic artist or someone trying to be a comic book artist, um, I would not rotate my page like this to draw and stuff. I just drawed everything. What is it? What do you call that? Vertically, when things are up and down. I mean, I should tell you everything. If I can't even tell you what vertical and horizontal is. I think horizontal is this way, and vertical's like this. But I'm just my brain, the way it's wired. It's like, put the key in it, turn it on, it goes. Uh, you know, put a pencil in your hand, makes picture. Very, very basic. Very caveman. Okay, let's see. What else can I do with this bad boy? I think the top panel is pretty much done. Oh, I'll tell you another fun fact about this Wildcat anthology that I'm doing. This story that I'm working on, it's about 20 pages or so, or whatever. Is the first time in comic book form, at least I think so, where I'm drawing Wildcat with a ponytail, because the way I've drawn him for off and on for 20 years has been with a ponytail. It's only here in the last close to 5 years that I've been drawing him with his hair down. So I want to draw him with a ponytail because it makes it easier to draw him just a little bit, because you have to figure out how the hair falls over his head and the angles and all this other stuff. Drawing the glove lines on Dr. Terror's hands. I don't know if you saw any of that. No, probably not. So this page roughly is pretty much already ready for ink. But what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to find anywhere where I feel like I'm coming up short, anywhere where I feel like it's not where it should be, where it doesn't look the best. And anywhere that I kind of left blank, like I know a lot of this stuff is just common sense, but I'm a guy that failed my my driver's permit thing, the paperwork portion. I failed that like 6 times, passed it on my 7th. But when I did the driving test, I passed that on my first try. But the point of me bringing that up is this common sense thing I'm getting ready to talk about is basically in the past, what I would do is sometimes I'd have these really loose pencils and it'd be something that I've not really drawn before. And I would sit with an ink pen and I would try to draw it with an ink pen. And then I would run into problems because I didn't know what I was doing. And this is such a common sense thing. And, ashamed to say my lack of professionalism. Thing I've learned now to do is to pencil, 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 pencil. Get this stuff figured out beforehand before I start inking, because that way I'm not stuck looking at a page trying to figure it out, and I'm definitely not having to use whiteout. The only reason I have to use whiteout nowadays, assuming I do my job right, is I make a mistake that my hand gets too frisky. You know what I mean? And I draw a line I didn't mean to draw. Whereas like making a mistake where I'm like trying to draw somebody's hand where I didn't draw it with a pencil, and where the ink where the pen's kind of finalized, like, oh man, so you end up making a bigger mess. So solve these things out beforehand is my advice to myself and my advice to others. And figure it out. Just ooh, that looks ugly. This is my attempt at little Jim Lee isms. Some of them come out good, like right here. I think it looks fairly decent, but others kind of turn out kind of really rough. Let's see. I can't even tell what I've drawn here. I mean, I know what it is, but this mass through here is kind of confusing, so I got to look at it for a second. Okay, this is, I think maybe, man, the angle that's at, that's weird. Okay, let's try this. Maybe here. Okay, and maybe let this be an empty space where the table's actually at. I guess. I don't know. And this is supposed to be his arm coming in to do something, but that don't look quite right either. I don't feel happy with that. So that looks anatomically whack, you know. So let's just get rid of that. I like the way this eraser feels. This thing's heavy duty. So let's see. Let's do this. Wonder, shade this in. I think that would kind of look cool. Another thing that I like doing these days is I like to find excuses to put blacks in, to add shadows and stuff like that to really make stuff pop. It's something that Jack Kirby did with excellence, in my opinion. Like he would take panels that would otherwise be kind of boring, and he would find a way to spruce them up by filling in like these black spaces and stuff like that. Let's see here. I'll show you one thing where this isn't like Jack Kirby like, but this is, oh gosh, I dropped a pen. Sorry. Let me see here. Well, I kind of did it on all these pages. Well, some of them. You find one that's a perfect example of what I'm getting ready to talk about. Oh, shoot. Okay. Okay. All right. So I think I'll use this page right here. Now this isn't Kirby-like. Well, yeah, one panel is. This panel right here is. It doesn't necessarily look like Kirby, but like this is something that Kirby would do. Like he would just throw a random shadow in the background, and a lot of these shadows don't necessarily, when you think in terms of lighting, realistic lighting may not be whatever. I mean, visually, you kind of can tell that there's probably more than one light source, maybe two, upwards to three. But there is a light coming from this direction, and and it's causing a shadow of Dr. Terror to fall down. But at the same time, we've got some other type of deal that's casting this shadow from something in the ceiling, probably, or some big structure that the light is hitting and is causing the shadow to fall over the wall like this. And just adding the shadows underneath Dr. Terror's arm, underneath his clothes, these bits like on Wildcat's clothes and stuff like that. Um, Finding excuses to put shadows wherever I can put them, or to blacken out areas like this table here. This is the shadow of the table underneath, and somehow I feel like when you do that, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I could be wrong. I think it makes it look so much better, makes it come to life in a really cool way, and it makes things look three-dimensional. Um, but the thing I was getting ready to talk about, sort of in relation to it, is something else that I've been doing, and I've not really been doing this so much consciously. Some of it's subconscious, but we've got a panel where it's bright, and then I follow it up with a dark panel, then bright panel, hypothetically a bright panel, a dark panel, and then again with a bright panel. And what I like about that, just in a black and white format, I feel like it gives it so much deft doing it that way. Not just like what happens inside the panels, but just like layout wise, bright panel, dark panel, bright panel, dark panel, and just kind of go like that. And then sometimes breaking up that rhythm of how you do that. Now there's other panels, if I can find them, like this one. I didn't quite do that. Just hypothetically, you might be able to call it a dark panel, but we won't. But there's a light panel, and then I did one dark panel, light panel, light panel. And so probably what I'll do is when I go in and add zip tones, I'll change that and I'll make stuff look darker and all this other stuff, make it pop. Or at least I hope so anyway. Oh, and before I go further, I need to add my little add some Jim Lee's to the rocks. Sometimes I like to give the rocks on Wildcat's arm a little bit of dents and scratches and stuff like that. It just depends on how close up it is and stuff. One of the things I like to do is sometimes I like to do a Mike Manola C. And then somehow, when you put the C there, your mind will fill in the shadow. Now, sometimes I pull this off and it actually happens. And other times I do it and it just looks like whatever. The other thing I like to do is just like these random Jim Lee scratches. And then the third thing I like to do is a Ron Friends. Let's see, that is right. Is it Ron Friends? Yeah, it's Ron Friends. It's a Ron Friends thing where it's the snake. He does this thing that I like to call the snake. And you see him do this a lot on the ground or like with Thor's hammer where so that's like three of my scritchy scratchies that I like to do. So I go back and forth between my interpretation of Jim Lee, and then I put in some Mike Manola C's. And I think it comes out looking fairly good, sometimes. I guess I have to go. Remember, instead of candy, give your trick-or-treaters dandelions, kudzu, and mushrooms. Yes, that's right. I'll give them dandelion wine and kudzu rashes and poison mushrooms. But seriously, take care, brother, and help Coop get better. I will. I'm glad you dropped in, and I will see you next time, bud. Let's see. What is some other stuff I can do here. I was trying to figure out the angle of this hand. So you know what I need to do is I need to just draw it. So I'm going to say that the hand is right here, right? So up, down, no, maybe here, here, here. That looks weird. Mm. I can't mess around on it too long because I got more pages that I have to draw. Let's see here. How's he? Elbow in. His elbows. That's not going to work. So yeah. The arm's going to be more underneath him as opposed to whatever. So that's fine. I just don't need to draw. I don't. Nobody needs to see the other arm because he's over top of his own arm. Why don't you guys tell me this stuff instead of making me do all this? Shame, shame, like the woman on Game of Thrones. Okay, I think that'll work. Now let's figure out Wildcat. Got his ears here, top of his head. Got this other hand thing. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll actually draw the shadow of this hat on Wildcat. I think that would be interesting. Give the indication for where the eye's at least. And then maybe do a shadow right through here of the hand and Wildcat's head, shadow of the ears. Yeah, I like that. And I think another thing I'll do is I will shade this as well. And so I will make this whole panel like lots of darkness. So I think that would look cool. Yeah. So that'd be a good way to break up the page a little bit. And I guess maybe now I could shade this background right here, but Dr. Terror, way I was going to do it, I was going to put him in black. So that would have to be a zip toned thing that I do there. Let's go over here. That's a pretty good little Jim Lee scratch thing. I like how that turned out. I have my good days. Okay. So I think we're reaching the end of the show. So you know how I usually like to end this. I think I'm going to go and fix me something to eat. I'm kind of hungry. I hope you all had a great Halloween. Hoping to have an even better Thanksgiving and coming the end of November. Really looking forward to getting this book done because I'm anxious to get started on Super American. Super American is going to be a thing where I'm going to try to do my best on it, but I'm not going to be anal about it like how I've been with Wildcat in the past. What I want to do is just focus on telling a story and getting it out there. And so that way, the more I draw it, the better I get. And then when I return back to Wildcat, I'll be like this comic book artist extraordinaire or something, fairly decent. I still, trying to figure out my artistic style and sensibilities and get things down. So it's just an excuse to do that. Um, but I really like to wrap this Wildcat thing up, and it's been really cool how this all came about. Like I just kind of mentioned offhand in a live stream, very much like this one. Something I wanted to do, and this person popped up and that person popped up, and I stalked one person and maybe another, and then a few other people, and it just kind of snowballed into this thing. Um, here we are. I'm I'm almost halfway done with a lot of the work that needs to be done, maybe, sort of, possibly. And we got two contributors that got their stories in the can. I think we've got like a third contributor that's I'd say they're probably pretty much on the lettering stage. We got a fourth uh, bunch of contributors that are wrapping up the inks and getting ready to get into the lettering. Um, and then we got another one that's getting started, but they're so quick at what they do, and that they'll be done in no time, really. So this is going to be really awesome anthology, I think. I'm just kind of curious how it's all going to turn out. You know, the fake ads and all this other stuff, the real ads and everything. The little promo pieces and the cover and stuff. And I even looked up where it's semi affordable that I could even put like a chromium cover on this thing. That'd be wild, kind of trippy, wouldn't it? And this is going to be like roughly 100 pages, give or take. That is pretty cool, I think. So I'm excited to get it done. I hope people enjoy it, and read it and really get something out of it, and be like, wow, that was a good story. That was some good stories, plural, meaning more than one. Um, yeah. So anyway, I hope everyone's had a good one. And one of my new phrases, I like to say, be bold, be brave, and mighty forces will come to your aid. Be the tide that rises all ships. Be the change you want to see. Carpe diem, my friends. Until next time, please remember to seize the day. And much love to you all. This is CB Smallwood. And I will see you in the next video as soon as I hit the button. Yeah.